Who was Screaming Mad George? What legacy did he leave behind? What were his achievements? How did he get started? This and more we are going to dive into. Greetings everybody, Tommy Rad here. It's been a while since I did one of these videos, so we are doing one about one of the most, I feel, underrated punk bands from New York at the time, The Mad. Now, The Mad was started around in 1978, and they were playing on the New York punk scene. Yeah, post, when a lot of the bands that played at CBGBs, like the Ramones, Patti Smith, Talking Heads, Tough Thoughts, they all either broke up or just stopped playing at these clubs, to larger audiences. Okay, The Mad was like a horror punk band. George did whatever he wanted, wanted to be presented, in some gory level, that kind of, and some people feel that was like some sick shit that he was creating. Sick but entertaining at the time. The first time I heard about The Mad, my early days venturing into Max's Kansas City by myself. I believe this had to be either late 1979, early 1980. I can't place the exact date when I went there. And the Mad was playing, and I think they were also playing with the Cheetah Chrome and the Casualties. I could be wrong about that as well. So when I get to Max's, I see Mojo. The first time I seen him wearing punk rock gear. And he was in my hygiene class in high school. And back then he was wearing a 3-piece suit and tie going to school. And he was talking about I overheard him talking about the Damned being better than Kiss with one of the classmates who was a metalhead. And actually played in a cover band at the time. So I only knew Mojo by his real name at the time. I'm not going to say it here. I mean, I used to hear stories from other people on the scene that I got acquainted with that he told some stories. So I'll get into that. Although I never heard these stories that he told. Although I never did. So I'm just going by what I heard from other people. Hey, look behind me. This, my office got a makeover here. It looks a lot more organized than what you've seen before. So give props. Give props to my man Marvin, who helped me out over here. Props to him. Okay. Now, getting back what we were getting into. So, the first time I saw The Mad, George used to wear like this white makeup on stage, and at the time he had a guitar player that was dressed up like Jesus, and 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 I think he was even called Jesus during that time period. But I think that, and the girl bass player Julian, and I think Dave Hahn played drums for this show. I could be mistaken, but I wasn't fully familiarized with these people yet. So excuse me a second. So that was like my first glimpse at the Mad. At the time I liked the show. I liked the show that they played at the time. So later, like in a few months, I came across like fellow punks in Brooklyn. My friend Joe and his brother Marty, and they showed me they had the Mad fried egg 7-inch. So I look at it, and it was they had a different guitar player. They had a different guitar player playing on that record, and I was finding out that lineup was a whole lot better than the lineup that I saw. That songs like The Hell, Disgusting, and Fried Egg. Now, I don't have the record with me right now, but it had a cover that George drew himself. Like that was like a poster. Totally, it looked like it was totally handwritten, and illustrations of the band members who played on there. Like Julian's face is on the cover with an eye missing, and there's a fried egg, like crushing Mad George. I'd have to look at this cover but I mean it was a great piece of artwork that was in a poster. And the Mad stopped playing shows. By the time got to this point, they stopped playing gigs altogether. And George was forming some new band called Irrational. More on them in a bit. So we would, So when I started running with Joe and Marty, we'd be going to the clubs like Bonnie Talk House, which was on 27th Street and 6th Avenue. We saw this band Legionnaire's Disease and the Violators play, and a lot of the local punks were there, like Harley, Nick Martin, and Mad George. He was there too. He was there too. He didn't have any makeup on. He was dressed all in black, and had on a black blazer with a T-shirt underneath it. He was there. He was there checking out the show. So that's when we found out Marty was talking to him. And found out that the Mad broke up, and he was doing a new band, Irrational, preparing for Irrational to come. Butch Butch, rest his soul, was a local punk rocker in Brooklyn. He ran with us for a bit too. Whenever we want to hang out or whatever. Because he lived a block away from where Joe lived in Brooklyn. And originally he had a band called Disgrace. They didn't go anywhere really. They never. I don't think they ever released anything for that matter. I mean, I had members of the bands like Dave Manzullo, who later played in Ultraviolence, and hold on a second, I got a phone call to take. Hello? I'm recording a YouTube video. Okay, alright. Alright. Okay, I had to take that call. Alright. Okay, now, where was I? Yeah, Butcher, yeah, at Mental Disgrace, and then had another member, Steve Wishnier from the False Prophets, played with them at one time on bass. Jerry Lamb, he played with them on bass one time, rest his soul too. And Bobby Skull, who played in XKI later, I think he was the last drummer that played with them. So, excuse me. So George was playing bass for a few shows with them, until, I guess to help Butch out until he got a bass player, something to that effect. Some of this stuff here, dude. I gotta look through some stuff here. All right. Okay, so it's been years. Like Irrational hasn't started playing yet. I think about 1984 they actually played a show at the Charis Theater, which was a public school. I'm not sure what grades attended this school. But somehow somebody over there managed to book shows there on occasion, but not many occasions. Now Irrational, we went and saw Irrational play. I mean, it was very experimental, I'll tell you. It was very experimental, if that's the right phrase I'm using. Different. It wasn't it wasn't hardcore or punk or anything like that. But I don't think the band never considered themselves a hardcore band. They never did. I don't think they did. And I think the guy that was formerly known as Jesus was the guitar player. Was a guitar player for Irrational. But then at the very end of the show, they played I Hate Music. Now, this was a rare 7-inch that they had out that I should have mentioned earlier. With Eyeball and I Hate Music on it. I think that's their best record for those two little songs. And it's very couldn't find that anywhere. The Friday one was abundant. I'll tell you that. That was very abundant. And basically, I believe both records were released on Disgusting Records. And on the first 7-inch, I found out from Jack Rabbit that they had a second guitar player named Danny Apana. I think that might have been his name. And he left the band sometime after that record was recorded because he didn't want to deal with any of the man's sick shit, from what I've heard from Jack himself. And here's another little factoid I found out recently, that Paris, formerly with the Cro-Mags, actually played with them for a month, but George told him that they weren't using any of his music that he wanted to contribute. And that was it, and he left the band. But as far as but who wrote the music in the band? Well, I don't know who did, but I think George may have wrote all the music. I don't know. I have no idea. He's very talented, I'll tell you that. But then sometime after that, Hollywood caught his attention one time at Max's, there was a video I saw. They used to play videos from some of the punk bands that were like of live concerts or whatever. And there was a video of a song called "He Shit Himself Out," which was animated, done by George, animations done by George, and where there was a vision, there was like an imagery up there of George coming out of his ass, like as if he took a shit, as if he shit himself out. That is some crazy shit. I never saw this video ever again, so that was the only time I ever saw it. You can't find it on YouTube. So okay, so so George moved to Hollywood. You know, he started working on movies like he started working on a lot of movies, and like he even worked on the Guyver movies. So I'm not really going to go into a list of his credits, of his movie credits here, because I'm not familiar with everything, but I know that he was out there doing special effects and shit like that. made a very good living. And he even formed a version of the Mad out there on the West Coast and played primarily in, I guess, in LA, maybe in Frisco, I don't know, but he played shows out there, so he did form a version of the Mad. That didn't really do much. And we just excuse me. And we just learned recently that he passed away back in February of this year. His family, you know, kept it private and didn't announce it until now. So rest in peace, George. Anyway, also, like, you know, we also lost Lou Kohler. I'm sure there's been a lot of other videos going around talking about this. Maybe I should do one, but you know, me and Lou were mad. You know, Lou, I miss him. I already miss him, because this guy, he, very, for a guy that was like, at the top of the world with Sigmadol, if you call it that. But yeah, I'm going to talk about it. That'll be the next video I talk about. Okay, there's a lot I could talk about in that one, so I'm going to save that for a separate video. Okay, that's about it for now. If you like what you saw, please smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel. In the boxes below, there's ways you could help out the channel. Also, I have set up a GoFundMe page. Okay, I ran into some hard times, and I could use your help. With not trying to get rich from it, but just trying to catch up on some bills that I'm starting to fall behind on. That I've been dealing with since moving up here, because there was a lot of traveling, there was a lot of expenses going back and forth, house hunting and stuff, and just some things that didn't work out according to plan. Also, I have my book Punk Rock Revolution. You could the link is in you can get that from Amazon. The link is in the description box below. I still have a Patreon page. You know what? I'm trying to figure out stuff to do with that as well. So bear with me on that. and there's a lot of videos you could go back and watch on here. They are. I'm telling you now, they are timeless. They're timeless videos, and shorts too. So now again, back to the GoFundMe page. So go